On this edition of Mississippi Roads, we'll visit the town of Holly Springs, which is home to the annual Hummingbird Migration Celebration. We'll visit a set of brothers who left their jobs to follow their dreams, building birdhouses. We'll take a look through the rearview mirror at a story we did on the Slugburger Festival. And a special kind of park in Jackson welcomes humans and their four-legged friends.
Support for the arts segment of Mississippi Roads comes from the Mississippi Arts Commission, whose mission is to be a catalyst for the arts and creativity in Mississippi. Information available at www.arts.ms.gov.
Mississippi Roads is made possible in part by the generous support of viewers like you. Thank you.
Down Mississippi Road.
Hi, welcome back to Mississippi Roads. I'm your host, Walt Grayson. This week we're coming to you from the Strawberry Plains Audubon Center in North Mississippi near Holly Springs. The Strawberry Plains Audubon Center is associated with the National Audubon Society. And right here at this center, there's 3,000 acres of hardwood forest and grasslands and natural wetlands, all being maintained and preserved by this center. And there's lots of volunteers come and help too, lots of local residents and students and people like that to not only maintain it for today, but to carry what's here on into the future. And we're here today to celebrate a tiny little bird that many of us are already familiar with. In fact, quite a few of us love them so much that we have special feeders that we maintain just for them. And we're talking about, of course, hummingbirds. These tiny birds, about 3.5 inches from tip to tail, fly nearly 3,000 miles a year. Quite a few of them have chosen to make Strawberry Plains their home. And we'll be back in a minute to see some other things that the festival has to offer. But first, while we're on the subject of our feathered friends, we're going to meet a couple of brothers who took something that all of us learned how to build in shop class, well, back in the days when they had shop class anyway, and really turned it into something spectacular.
We set them up every day if weather permits, and you get a better look at it if it's outside versus all stacked in. So yeah, we like to set them outside, and we like to call it our outdoor showroom. We are located on 631 Edwards Road, Hickory, Mississippi. We're open 3 days a week, which is Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I'm here every day, so if you do want to come by, please do.
What hit them, most of them, is the big cedar house in front. And when they come by, they just, wow, look at this here, that's incredible. How long it take you to do something? And most people think the back of it is plain, but the back's the exact same as the front. I don't want to do just one side, I want to do all of it, do the whole thing so all of it looks good. Our big ones are known as sculptures because they're so huge and so big. Well, that's really not a birdhouse, man, that's a sculpture. And I said, you're absolutely right. It's just like Mary Hope. When we done Mary Hope, we didn't take the first measurement. We just went up there and took 3 pictures and came back and built it. And when you see it, you're like, holy, it's 6.5 feet long, 6 feet wide, 3.5 feet tall. It's got the columns, it's got everything, and it's just absolutely beautiful.
And this birdhouse represents the columns, the windows, the decorations, all of the beautiful things that make it such a beautiful antebellum Greek Revival mansion here in Meridian. We were so excited to have it that we just couldn't bear to put it outside, so we decided to put it here under the porch. John Balcom just loves to build birdhouses, and he is just a great craftsman, and I'm so proud that he wanted to do something special for Meridian and for Mary Hope.
And it looks just like the house. I mean, it's a spitting image of it.
Me and my brother, we've been making birdhouses for a long time. You know, when I say a long time, not commercially, but for family and friends. You know, we'd always give gifts and stuff like that as birdhouses. And now we decided to do it full time. I'm a master cabinet maker, and I've been doing that for 30 years. And unfortunately, with the economy going bad, I got laid off. And my brother he brought it up several times in the past few years about wanting to do something like this. And I'm like, you know, kind of questioning birdhouses. Because, you know, there's birdhouse builders everywhere. But I figured me and John both got to talk about it. If we did something that nobody else is doing, and I don't think nobody's doing what we're doing now as far as the uniqueness of our birdhouses, so why not? Yeah, I make a living, and if I can make a living at it, I'm happy. What we try to promote is the fact that we use something that's already been used, and we try to convert it back into a way we can use it again in our birdhouses. If it can be put into a birdhouse, I'm gonna do it, basically. We turn little model cars and turn them into birdhouses. I've got one right there on the ground, you can see right now.
I hate throwing things away. And see, in society, the way we are today, we take it and throw it away. We don't need this no more, throw it away. I hate doing it. We take a television, old television, turn it, a computer. We took computers and turned them into birdhouses. Whatever bird wants to move in it, go ahead and move in it. Rent's cheap, cheap. The plane used to be an old arcade that kids ride in, or they was gonna throw it away. I said, no, you can't just throw that away. Do something different with it. We had to do work to it to get it back into the shape that it's in now. But it's just something that when people come up, they say, wow, you know, you took something that was gonna be thrown away, instead of throwing away, give it a second life, and if it lasts 5 years, it lasts 5 years. If it lasts 20, it lasts 20. And I know you've seen the one with Mississippi on it. That was a road map. I stuck a road map on it. It's to scale, it's exactly to scale. I just took it on it and taped it under and then started and marked it all out. And that was a column that was in front of a house, but the top of it got broke. Instead of throwing the whole column away, I sat there and made 3 of them out of it, and that's the only one I got left. The little squirrel didn't come out, did he? There's a flying squirrel in it, in the left-hand side in Jackson. Got a perfect plane, will not get in the plane. No, he don't want to fly in the plane. He might fly to it, but he ain't gonna fly in it. You notice that one there on the stump. It's birdhouses on both sides. And it's got a penny, every one of them's got a penny. And if people go to a show or something, and if someone sits there and sees a birdhouse, you'll know that you got the birdhouse from us, because we put a penny in every one of them. With one time we put them in there for luck, but some people say they don't believe in luck, so we say, okay, and it's not for luck, it's just our trademark. We try to put art into it, and we want to make it something different, just like a painting. We want something that, you know, hey, it's a one of a kind, it's a piece of art.
And I don't like using plans or nothing like that, just because you get into the tendency to keep repeating that same process. And by just using your imagination and your skill level, go with it.
How do you know when it's finished? Well, you look at it, and when you sit there and you get to that certain point, and sometimes you go too crazy with it, and you realize I put too much in it, I went too far with it, I need to back up and back my stuff up. But a lot of times you just look at it and say, you know what, don't do nothing else, leave it just like it is.
John has been called the birdhouse man, yes sir. Really? Right, he likes that too. And of course we are now.
Like I say, it's just something I enjoy doing. My brother enjoys doing it, and I'm not planning on quitting anytime soon. I hope to die with the birdhouse in my hand.
Studio B, exactly. That's the B stands for Balcom. Nothing better than a Balcom-built birdhouse. Exactly.
Is that your logo?
That's mine now. I just come up with that.
The Hummingbird Migration Celebration that they have here at the Strawberry Plains Audubon Center is the biggest fundraiser of the year for them. And people from literally several states around come here to touch a hummingbird, feel its heartbeat, or to get up close and see them. And on top of that, there's activities planned from kids all the way up to senior adults. At the kids' tent, there's face painting and all sorts of ways for the little ones to get a little closer to nature, whether it's picking up and feeling some of the hides the staff has on hand, getting a feel for the different kinds of fur, or taking a look at some of the animal skeletal systems. There's a lot to keep them entertained. And if they're lucky, when the handlers tag some of the hummingbirds to track them, they might even get a chance to hold one of the birds for a few seconds before it flies away to join the migration. There's even snakes on hand for adults and children alike to touch and handle. Yeah, speaking of snakes and things, here in Mississippi, we have another little critter that slithers and crawls around on the ground. We call it a slug. And every year, just up the road from here in the town of Corinth, they have a festival celebrating the Slugburger. They're not really made from slugs, but it reminds me of a story that we did a while back. So let's look in the rearview mirror at the Corinth Slugburger Festival.
Bugger, 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 eating slug bugger, 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 eating slug bugger.
You can't eat one, you gotta have two. Them slug burgers are good for you. Come on everybody, join in the fest. Corinth, Mississippi's where you'll get the best slug burger. Whoa, yeah.
A slug burger, as I understand it, back during the Depression, was a hamburger made of meal, some meat, and it was sold for a nickel, and a nickel at that time was called a slug, and therefore we call it the slug burger.
We started it about 15 years ago with just kind of on a shoestring. We didn't have much money to get it started with, but I thought it up, and with the help of my wife, we started really over here in this area. Didn't realize it was going to be so big.
We joined the state organization, Main Street. Main Street's mission is to enhance and revitalize the downtown area because the downtown is the heart of any community. It's always the first weekend in July. For Main Street now, it's our biggest fundraiser. It seems to grow every year. 15 years ago, 7 of us actually did all the cooking. We bought the meat at a local butcher shop. We kept the meat in coolers. We cooked them on the courthouse square. Jimmy Hathcock brought a great big cooker down on the lawns of the courthouse. We got jars of onions and mustard and buns, and we actually cooked on the courthouse in that 95-degree heat.
We cooked from the first year probably 400 or 500 pounds of slow burgers. By the third year, we were doing 1,600 pounds.
Bugger, 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 eating slug bugger, 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 eating slug bugger.
I make the Slugburger. I'm making anywhere from 400 to 700 pounds for the Slug Festival. I have flour, and then I have like my salt, and then I have soybean meal, and then I have water. And I just combine that all together, and then I have my ground pork. And then when I mix it all together, I put it in a big mixer. We'll turn it on, we'll let it mix, and when it gets mixed, it's gonna look totally different. Today it's been like, what, about 400 pounds that I have made, or 5 today. I have people coming from everywhere. We have people coming from Memphis. I have people coming from Tupelo, Boonville, Iuka, Mickey. You know, just, they come in. They may not get no big quantity. You know, I need 2 or 3 pounds of slug. You know, they call patty mix. And I said, what are you talking about? They said, you know, the dough burger. I said, oh, slug burger. You know, they have all kinds of names for it.
When I was a kid, you got 2 for a dime. We didn't mind standing in line. You could get 'em go, you could eat 'em here. It's the best kept secret in burger years, Slugburger. Whoa, yeah.
not good unless you drop it down in a deep fry. It's excellent with mustard, pickle, and onions. There's lots of stories about the Slugburger, but the way I understood it, Mrs. Weeks is the first that mixed it, but I understand there are various and sundry ones. But that was during the Depression when we had very little money, and particularly in the South. And so she tried to think of something she could make that would kind of stretch the nickel a little bit. So she mixed potato flour and a little bit of sausage and a little bit of hamburger and deep fried it. And then the men started coming in after, at lunchtime, and they'd say, "Oh, give me a slug," saying like an imitation hamburger. And I believe they were about like 5 for a nickel, something like that. So I know that sounds hard today when we pay $3 for one, but then it was different. Slugburger's still a big seller. It's just amazing. The people look forward to it. The kids look forward to riding the rides on Court Square.
What started out with 5 or 6 people, now it takes 50 or 60, 75 volunteers to put our festival on there.
Eating Slugburger, Slugburger.
The Strawberry Plains Audubon Center has a pretty rich history. Legend has it that Spanish explorer Hernando de Soto came through this part of the country. And of course, all this territory belonged to the Chickasaw Indians at one time. And when settlers began to move in, they sold it to them at a pretty good profit.
That is awesome. She's cool.
And luckily for the Audubon Society, way back in the mid-1800s, a prominent family in the area came to own the land known now as Strawberry Plains. Back then it was a bit of untamed wilderness, primed for turning into land for cotton farming. The Findley family owned and managed the land for more than a century before deciding in the late 60s that the area needed to be preserved in a manner that later generations could learn about wildlife and find a place set aside to study and understand it. So in 1983, 2 of the Findley family sisters donated the land along with a large trust to the Audubon Society. So, thanks to the generosity of the Findley sisters, the Audubon Society now has this beautiful preserve where people can come year-round and study the ecology and nature and conservation, and then once a year come and observe the hummingbird migration. And while we're talking about people and animals all in one spot, let's go to a park in Jackson where not only can the people sit around and shoot the breeze with one another, but their dogs can run free and, I guess, shoot the doggy breeze with one another.
I would have to say I just love the energy in the park. Not only with the dogs playing and having a good time, but also people who probably would never cross paths coming together around a common interest of their love for dogs.
Breeze Bark Park is a public off-the-leash dog park. Hey, sweetheart. We like for the dogs to all be off the leash because it makes them all equal. Kara is affiliated with the Breeze Bark Park. It's a no-kill shelter. We've got about 300 dogs, about 120 cats. The park is beneficial to the shelter as well because this is a great area for the mornings for our dogs to come out and get exercise and be able to socialize. And socialization with shelter dogs is a key to getting them adopted.
It's fully fenced. It's a 6-foot fence all the way around. It has a vestibule when you come in, so you can take the leash off your dog and let the dogs on the other side of the fence get to know your dog a little bit and wait for the wagging tails. And if all that's looking good, then you can let your dog into the park. And then we did some elements. Obviously the splash pool that we have is definitely for the dogs, but we did some elements for people because we wanted to make it a place that everybody enjoyed bringing their dogs. So we've got some built-in benches. We've got a big event deck that obviously we'll use for events, but it's also just a nice shaded deck. The membership is $10 a month. Most people are paying it in a yearly basis. We have 108 dogs and 69 members. So we're growing in membership pretty fast.
I just like that the dogs are able to be around other dogs. It gives them a real good opportunity to socialize and kind of learn appropriate behavior. And I think she just enjoys the all-out running. You know, they'll get at one and they'll just take off, and to run that far, that long, that fast gives her a unique opportunity.
Well, the one thing that we like the most, and actually our dog loves the most, is the pond. And we brought him here, and the very first thing that he did was go and jump in the water. And now anytime we come out, he'll run in the water, he lays down, absorbs as much water as he can, and then he starts running around with water flying off of him. So now we know he's a mix, and we think that at least half of him is part mermaid.
I would say it's definitely one of the nicest parks I've been to, honestly, between just the way the flow of the concrete walkway and the pavers up the front, the deck, the splash pool. It definitely has some architectural interest that you don't often find in other dog parks. I've not seen, I don't recall a dog park that has actually had an event deck built in with built-in benches. This is really a nice feature. I got to know Kara, and I ended up fostering and then adopting Bree, who's a Kara rescue. When I first moved to the Jackson area about 4 years ago, I had 2 dogs at the time, and we were used to going to off-leash dog parks for exercise and socialization. And when I moved here, I actually went in and Googled off-leash dog park Jackson and got nothing, and came up with the idea after spending some volunteer time working in the back and asking questions about this lot next door to Kara. I wanted to name it after Bree because she is a Kara dog, and I wanted this park to benefit both the Kara dogs as well as the community dogs. I think it's a great way to give Kara dogs exposure to the community, get them socialized, and just make their stay more enjoyable until they find their forever home. It was just important to me that, you know, people know that there's dogs that are neglected and abused, and that rescuing is a great option if you're looking for a companion pet.
I think the most unexpected thing about the dog park is how much time I was going to spend out here. I found that I'm out here a good portion of my weekends, which means all of my chores at home tend to have gone undone, but it's been a great experience thus far.
Here he can meet everybody that's here, he can meet all the dogs, he runs around, he is a ball of energy the entire time he's here, and then as soon as we get in the car to go home, he falls asleep, and then we'll sleep for the rest of the night.
I just can't tell you how happy it makes me to see her run around and play and socialize. It's just, it makes her happy, makes me happy. All in all, it's a win-win situation.
It really means a lot to me to see all these different people out here who are talking to each other, conversing about what kind of dog food works best. But I also think it's going to be a jumping off point for other communities to create their own parks, which will be really exciting. I think she just likes to hang out and lounge. I think she knows this is, you know, her park, and so she kind of lays around like queen.
And regrettably, that's all the time we have for this week's show. If you'd like any information about anything you've seen on tonight's program, contact us at mpbonline.org/Mississippi Roads or join our Facebook page. Until next time, I'm Walt Grayson. I'll be seeing you on Mississippi Roads.
Mississippi Roads is made possible in part by the generous support of viewers like you. Thank you.